going on, Smart Movers? Here at Smart Movers Club, we aim to make your next move count. How do we do that? We supply data about states, regions, about different assets for investors, for founders, entrepreneurs, or if you're just simply wanting to relocate from the place you are now for maybe better tax advantages, better jobs, better opportunities, better quality of life, better freedom. Either or, this is the place for you. If you haven't already, go ahead and head over to smartmoversclub.com. We put out a daily newsletter, and in this newsletter, we give you the insights. We have been tracking data, private, public records, and we have over 1,000 data sets that we utilize to ensure that we're giving you the most verified data on why a place seems like it's ready for investment, or it's ready for jobs, or a lot of jobs are moving there, corporation moves and all of that. I want to actually dive in the system right now. So if you haven't already, again, head over to smartmoversclub.com and sign up for our newsletter. It's called Club Daily. And in Club Daily, we just give you the insights that we've been tracking. The government shutdown, though, has stopped a couple of our tracking, because we do get from the government databases like the BEA, the BLS, the JOLTS, things like that. The same things that the Fed requires to make a decision on if they're going to lower quantitative easing and all of that, and lower interest rates, is the same things we look up, but we try to tie a story in for the individual. And the reason that it's important is because you'll move to a place, or you think you want to invest in a place, and it's totally overdone. And sometimes you got the bigger pockets, that could handle that. But most investors want to get their feet wet with something that's doable and able to still see an ROI and get some real equity there. Moving to a place or investing in a place that has some appreciation over time. And maybe the appreciation is not seen right now, but with the data sets that we're tracking, we're able to say, okay, this position, this place looks better than the other place. And why not move why not utilize data to move smarter, right? Because we've been using emotion. Emotion is finicky, it's wish-washy, depending on your mood, depending on headlines, depending on fear tactics, depending on sensationalism, depending on fear-mongering, is usually, oh man, I gotta leave here because I heard the crime is going up. You heard from who? Did the stats say the crime is going up, right? We are very honest with the data. It doesn't really lie, it's black and white. So this really is for corporate moves. We track corporate moves, we track private equity, we track jobs, we track incentives, grants, we track building permits, which is a leading indicator for us. Seeing the permit activities in a specific area. Really, you have a 12 to 18 month preview of anticipation of what's happening in that area. Using government projects and capital expenditures, CapEx, and different things like that. Based off the government, you're looking at plus 5 to 10 years based on where they are, what they're doing, right? So a lot of DOE projects, a lot of energy projects, a lot of roads, bills, and things like that, big infra projects. I noticed we tried to plot a lot of the data behind infrastructure, and we did see that a lot of the infrastructure initially came around the 2021-22, and you know why? Because there was the bill, right? The infrastructure bill. Right after COVID, you got an infrastructure bill, and most of it was tied to like green infrastructure, like the green energy, windmills, renewable energies, solar, and things like that, because it was more of a green plan. But however, you're able to really see these things. A lot of the bills that started in 2021, 2022 is not going to be completed until 2030. So 2030 is a huge date for a lot of different things, for the world economies, for population, for migration, for just on a macro level. A lot of these companies have a 2030 plan. A lot of countries have a 2030 plan. We're going to get this much greener by this date, but 2030 seems to be a reoccurring theme. But corporate moves, why is that important? Why is jobs important to know? where they are, what they're doing, what industries affected, what industries are booming, what are the high-paying jobs, how are things expanding, what are the M&As, private equity doing. It's important because where jobs go, people go. Where people go, you need a demand for housing, right? And depending on the level of wages earned by certain industries or certain corporations, you either get into the Class A, the Class B, and Class C really does. They really don't play with the Class C. Class C is just kind of not, it's not a tracker. Like, I don't track where the Class C buildings are, right? But Class B, you find a lot of Class B in office buildings. And then you got Class A. Private equity is moving more towards Class A. That's the luxury type of flexible spaces where they have the cafe, the office space, a lot of flexible offices now, but Class A, more luxury type buildings. Big windows, nice views, different amenities for the employer, and then thus moving down to the employees. But corporate moves, what's important to know about it, corporations, jobs, and things like that. Of course, yes, the creation of jobs, the creation of a place, the movement of people follows corporations. But private equity tends to look at this. It's almost like a leading indicator for private equity. If there's a lot of expansions, like let's say what happened in Austin, right? You've seen a lot of corporations move there. You've seen the Dexit corporations leaving Delaware and then rebuilding their structure in other places. If it becomes too expensive to do business in a state, they'll primarily leave. So you saw that in Nevada, where a lot of corporations. You're seeing that in Austin, Texas. Overall, you're seeing that in Florida. In Florida, when we looked it up, so I plotted since 1999 in Florida. Florida was a special case. It was like an anomaly. And you could kind of see, and I think I'll put it up on the screen here, when migration happens, when corporate moves happen, and then when government projects happen, corporate, migration, private equity, right? So this is the developments. These are the luxury apartments, the townhomes, the town centers where you live on top of these grocery stores. You got a lot of these Starbucks, wine cellars, nice places to hang out. Everyone kind of goes there. That's a big development, right? It becomes an attraction of sorts for that town or for that city or whatever, the little neighborhood. You start seeing that. But private equity loves to follow migration, but they love to be on the early edge of migration. When the chatter starts, they're already starting to pack up and head over to that location. But migration follows jobs. Hold on one second. Hey, give me 5 minutes. I'll come back to you.
Okay.
So migration follows jobs. So I looked up here, industry activity analysis. I want to know what industry, what sector, and where does it affect? What are we seeing? So of course we got biotech, we got energy, we got healthcare, manufacturing, the miscellaneous, retail, technology. Of course, you should think of it. Which one the highest corporate industry moves is, of course, technology. Let me widen this out here. Manufacturing had technology dominates corporate moves with 597 recorded activities. This is from our data set, and we turned the system on in August. Okay, so I'm sure people have way more data than we do, but I'm telling you, we're getting data by the minute. But also the space, the distance that technology left the other industries behind. I'm sure everybody's data set is right now saying technology, and I don't think you needed me to tell you that technology is winning. So technology dominates all the corporate moves here. It is important to note that the majority of corporate moves, and we tracked over 7,000 of them, didn't have the industry classification specified. So I have to clean the data. But right now, with what industry, because energy is huge too, healthcare is huge, and technology is coming in. So let me kind of share the activity by sector, right? So real estate is a sector, infrastructure, corporate, tech, finance, energy, and other. Of course, other needs to be cleaned here. What's really seeing their head to head, you got the corporate activity, and then you got real estate activity a little behind that, and tech behind that. So let's see here. Let's summarize this into the geographic regions. Okay, so this is over 17,000 pieces of data that we've collected. And the top 5 states with the most business activity that we've seen is New York, California, Texas, Illinois, and Florida. Okay, 1,700 of them we couldn't identify, right? So we were just talking about a sector, but the place wasn't there. We would have to do deeper analysis on that. So technology sector shows the highest concentration of corporate moves that were classified. Corporate and real estate sectors dominate overall market activity based on just overall data sets. New York, California, and Texas are the top 3 states for business activity. All right, so here we go. Let's find this one here. Where have we seen the most postings for non-farm jobs? So that's a category that JOLTS uses. And that's a specific data set from the government. Of course, with the government shutdown, it's not really coming in how we want it, but especially the government projects, every day it's invalidated. I gotta kind of like manually do it, but I'm not manually doing it. But the top states that we've been tracking for new positions, new job openings, new everything is, and I'll give it down to the county level. So let me see here. Is Cuyahoga County, Ohio. That's the Cleveland area. Then you got Minneapolis area coming in, and I think Minneapolis a little more, I believe, healthcare. So Ohio, though, is one that's the top. It's concentrated really in the Cleveland area. So there's a little boom with work there, with corporate jobs there in the Cleveland area. So if you're thinking about investing, you would want to dive deeper. We do have an analysis tool called Club Intelligence, and there you could just literally type in Cleveland and see the migration numbers, the latest data on migration, price to rent ratio. You could get the appreciation rate. You should see the rent increase rate year over year. You could see the median home values. You could see the top neighborhoods. You could see actually what's moving, what the top major employer moves that are happening there. So we did create an analysis to help you out. Once we give you the data in the newsletter, which is free, you could take that and move it to the next level. All right, so upper Midwest dominance. So Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota show strong job posting activity. Of course, you got the traditional job centers like California, Illinois, Texas maintain a presence. Notable job posting concentration in smaller North Dakota and Minnesota counties suggests economic development in rural areas. So this is the type of data, like, okay, I'm thinking about investing, I'm thinking about moving, what's in a place? We could give you that information. We do have custom reports in case you need it. You don't want to do all the searching, the digging, the putting the pieces together. We can help you out. We do have an analyst that could help you out with that and give you a custom report. Just go ahead over to smartmoversclub.com and you could just plug that in, hit us up, and we'll take care of you. And this is for serious investors. These are for people that are trying to relocate and really understand a place. So I could say to the system that we've created, I should have said it out loud. So basically I could say, tell me about a region, right? And this is just pulling all the data sets that we have and to see if it's good. And then of course we topple that with another system that we use and you could get the full picture. So making a decision, utilizing data will only strengthen your position and strengthen your ROI. Because if you don't see it, the data doesn't say it, You're not be able to connect the dots. What you're doing is wishful thinking. As adults, we stopped wishing a long time ago, Tooth Fairy. Now it's time to actually get the data, put the plan to action, and see what we can make. So private equity and institutional buyers use a certain framework before they go into a place. There is a video that we have a webcast showing you the exact 5 signals that they use. But in that webcast, I shared a video of Michael Levy, and he is the CEO of Trammell Crow Holdings. Crow Holdings, big real estate developers down in Dallas, Texas. And the interviewer said, hey, is there any strategic locations? Like, how do you strategize where to go next, where to build next? What do you do next? And the first thing and the only thing he says, well, we can't track interest rates. We don't know this. We can't tell the numbers with GDP. There's a lot of things we can't know, right? But the thing that we could hang our hat on is population migration, okay? And that's one thing that I think, is very important, where people goes, where people could pay, where people could live, where people are getting jobs, where people are working, that strengthens. So they look at population, but we look at what moves population. So we're trying to be a little step ahead of that. So that's basically all I want to say, is just kind of share some insight on what we do. Of course, this channel started with me just basically doing all 50 states. I got stuck in Montana, and Montana was so beautiful, and I just wanted to know more about it. I tell the story all the time. I started a cargo van business, got stuck in Montana, delivered artwork from LA to Montana, found out there was some tax breaks for the wealthy holding art, storing art there. I don't know. It just sparked my interest and say, okay, well, why do people move? Where do they move? Why what are they using to move? And why do they make better decisions? Some people make better decisions than others. For investors, founders, we only use data to assist you in your move. So you think about relocating, think about investing, holla at Smart Movers Club. Peace.